Hi, I'm Karine and today I'm going to show you how to do the make one stitch, or M1 as it would be on a pattern, and also the slip one purlwise. This is normally done in stocking stitch or stockinette stitch, depending on where you are in the world, but it's going to be in garter stitch. So Yarnspirations have done a pattern, a baby knit cardigan with this actual stitch in it, but when I came to do it, all I could find was videos on it in stocking stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do this increase in garter stitch. So as you can see here, I'm basing this video on the fact that you already know how to place markers. So this is just purely the stitch that I'm going to be showing. Here obviously I've marked the stitches that I'm using for the raglan increase for the sleeve. So this eventually would be a sleeve, and then you're dividing the back, fronts and sleeves with this stitch. So here initially I made one a certain way on both sides. So as you can see here, there's a slight bit more of a gap here, but further up I've done the increase slanting in the right direction. So it will be slanting this way and then slanting left. So we've got a slanting right and slanting left, and it gives it a much neater finish where you don't have quite big gaps. So I will do this row to show you. So this next row I'll be doing the slip one purlwise with the garter stitch. So I will knit to the stitch that we are going to be slipping purlwise. You do have to keep your knitting quite loose, so if you are a tight knitter, this is something that maybe you need to be aware of when you are doing it, as we are going to be making a stitch out of part of the yarn when we do the slip one purlwise, and it can get rather tight if you do knit quite tightly. So let me find the stitch. It'll be that one, so I've got to knit one more. Right, so this is the stitch that we're going to be slipping. So to do that with garter stitch, excuse me, we need to bring the yarn to the back of our work, and then we're going to slip that stitch purlwise. Now, because we need to knit the rest of the stitches to the next slip one, we need to bring the arm back round. Now this is the point where we need to keep this quite loose, not really tight, because otherwise you won't be able to work with it when we do the next row to make stitches. So just try and keep it as loose as you can, and then we're going to knit to the next marked stitch. Keep checking where I am so I don't go past it. Right, so now I'm at that stage now where we're going to slip this next stitch purlwise. So again, bring the yarn to the back of your work, slip that stitch purlwise, bring the yarn back round to the front of your work, and then we're going to knit to the end. I've only done a little swatch of this, so when you're actually doing the pattern with this sort of sleeve in it, obviously it's on a bigger scale and you'll have two of them. Right, so got to the end now. So we've got that stitch here that we've slipped, and on the back you will see that we've got this extra little bit of yarn that we're going to be using. So if I show you now the make one, and what we're going to do is slant the make one so that this one that's going to be coming in here will be slanting off to the right, and then the one that's going to be coming in here will be slanting to the left. It just gives it a nicer and more neat appearance. So I will knit to that point and then we will make one. Right, so here we're going to be making one either side of this slipped stitch. So you will see that the bit that we've used around the back will be here near the top. So for this one to be slanting off to the right, we're going to come to the back of it. So you could pick it up from here and then bring your left needle around the back. And then we're going to knit this part of the stitch. So try and keep it loose. I normally try and pull it around the needle so that we can get this needle in. And we're going to knit again, try and keep it as loose as possible and give it a little bit of a tug maybe just to loosen off that stitch. Then we're going to knit this stitch that was slipped the row before, and then we've got the bar here then that we used on the other side. We're going to use that again to make this next stitch, and we are going to go into the front this time. Again, this is where the problem is if it's too tight. So again, I'm going to roll it around that to give me a little loop to put my right hand needle in, and we knit that. Oh, it's a bit tight. And again, give it a wiggle and a tug just to loosen it off before you then take it off of your left hand needle. So now I'm going to knit these stitches up to here, and then I will show you again. So I will pause the video here and then carry on. So again, I've knitted to the next stitch that we slipped on the row before, and then we're going to find that little bit of yarn to make our make one. So again, we're going to go from the back, and then we're going to knit this front part of it. So again, drag it around the needle a little bit so we can get the right hand one in, and then we knit that one. Knit the stitch that we slipped, and then we've got the bar here to then come in through the front. She says go through the front, and then we're going to go try and get the right hand needle into the back of that without losing any stitches. There we go. Right, so then we knit that one again. That's quite tight, so I'll give it a little tug. And then we've done that, so then I'll knit to the end. So with this stitch, we need to keep it quite loose, otherwise it will look a little bit distorted and a bit tight. Obviously you need to follow the pattern, because some of the patterns it will then move to just doing a knit row, that which will then sort of loosen off the increases a little bit more, because you increase not on every other row, it's a bigger gap. Okay, so here it's much neater. Here you'll probably be able to see with the increases when they are slanting off away from this central raglan stitch. And again, there you can see it's much neater. So I hope that helps you if you come across this stitch within garter stitch. Thank you for watching.